Would you believe me if I told you that 80% of your deals are gonna come from follow-up? Just imagine if you're sitting here, you sending out ringless voicemails, SMS, cold calling, Google ads, direct mail, whatever you're doing, and all you're doing is generating new leads every day, but then if you don't get the response that you're looking for when you initially talk to the seller, you just throw the lead away. That's pretty much the same as throwing money out of the window. What you should be doing is, whenever a lead comes into your business, depending on the motivation level of the lead, you should be following up with the 3 lead types that I'm going to mention later on in this video in multiple different ways. Now, let's say that you had one lead that came into your business. I'm going to break it down and make it real simple. That particular lead that came in says, hey, I have a property off of 123 Main Street that I want to sell in the next 30 days. Okay, that's one of the qualifying questions that's already been answered. This seller wants to sell and they want to sell in 30 days. Of course, you have to get the property condition. You got to ask why they want to sell, and that's going to help you determine the motivation level of this particular seller. Now, the next lead type that may come in, they may say, hey, I want to sell. I don't know exactly when I want to sell, but it will be in the next 30 to 60 days. And you know, you do the same, you go through the same routine, and you gather all the necessary information to help qualify the lead even more. And so we know, since they want to sell in the next 30 to 60 days, that is a warm lead type in my business. Now, you also have the sellers that can be somewhat tire kickers, or can be sellers that just entertaining offers. They may sell later on down the line, but they say they may sell in 3 to 6 months. Guess what? That is your cold lead type. And 9 times out of 10, you have a smaller chance of closing a cold lead type of seller. But anytime that you have your hot and your warm lead types coming in, those should always be ahead of a cold lead type, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to take you many follow-ups to potentially even get that particular seller under contract. Now, when it comes down to my hot lead type, if a seller tells me that they want to sell in the next 30 days, my campaign is going to be very, very aggressive, because guess what? I know I'm not going to be the only person talking to that particular seller. There's going to be other wholesalers, other investors that's talking to that particular seller. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I send them at least 2 to 3 text messages a week through automation. And I'm also going to send them a manual text as well. And I'm going to give them a call as well too, to let them know, hey, that I'm really serious about buying this property. And the reason why that's important, because you already know that this particular seller is definitely motivated, and you know their time frame on when they want to sell. Now, when it comes to a warm lead type, a seller that wants to sell in 30 to 60 days, I'm not going to be as aggressive. What I'm going to do, I'm going to have it set up to where I reach out to the seller with automated text messages, maybe 1 or 2 times out of the week, and I may make a manual call 1 time a week as well too, just to keep my name fresh in their minds. So if they do decide to sell in between that time, they're going to reach out to me. Now, when it comes to the cold lead type that want to sell in 90 plus days, I just pretty much throw them in an automated follow-up sequence, and I will also get a date out of them that they say they want me to reach back out to them on, and that's when I actually make a call to those particular sellers to see if anything changed and see if their motivation level has actually increased. So if they say, hey, reach out to me in 6 months, what I'm going to do, I'm going to reach out to them in 3 months to see if they want to sell. But I already know that they're not that serious about selling, but I'm just making sure that I stay in front of them. And you better believe, if you do the things that I just mentioned, as the months go on, as you generate more leads, you better believe you're going to close your first deal, and then you're going to get to a point where you closing multiple deals every month, and then it's just going to be a consistent thing in your wholesaling business. Now, if you're enjoying the content so far, please just hit the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so YouTube can see that this video is valuable and they'll push it out to a larger audience. Also, leave me a comment below letting me know, do you have your follow-ups dialed in? And if not, what's holding you back from getting all your leads in a follow-up sequence? Now, let's get back into the video. So just to give you a quick story about a seller that I actually follow up with, he was actually local here in the Charlotte area, and I actually generated this lead by driving for dollars. I saw that he had a for sale by owner sign in his yard, and I called the sign and reached out to him to see if he wanted to sell at that point in time. And he said, you know what, I'm just going to hold off for a while. Just reach out to me in a few months. I'll probably want to sell then. So what I did was I kept him on the phone. I gathered all the information needed on the property condition, even though I know I couldn't get in the property at that point in time because he had tenants in the property. And we went through the information on if it was a mortgage, why he was looking to sell, repairs that were needed in that particular property. And I just built rapport with him. So when when it was time for him to sell, he would reach back out to me. So what I did over the next few weeks, because I know he said he wanted to push back for a little while, I said, you know what, I'm just gonna follow up with this one particular lead every single week until he's ready. So I called him once a week. I text him once a week. And this was before I even understood using dialers or using a Podio setup. I was doing this manually with one seller, just trying to get this one particular deal. So every time I would call, he would say, no, I'm not ready at this point in time. No, not yet. And that just was a response that I was getting every week. But then when we got to the 2-month mark, before I even had a chance to reach out to him, he called me and said, I'm ready to sell. So soon as he said that, I said, okay, so when will be a good time for me to come out to the property just to take a look at it? Because that was before we was really big on locking deals up over the phone. So we were still in the process of going out to the property and taking a look at it. So what I did, I went out to the property, I took a look at it. We saw that it had some foundational issues. It had some cracks in the foundation. Tenant was getting ready to leave, which that was mainly the main reason why he wanted to hold off. And once I was able to verify the condition and everything, we walked outside and we talked about the property. And what I did, I had my comps and everything ready for him, but we weren't able to agree to a number. But I gave you that story just to show you the power of following up and building rapport with a seller and keeping yourself in the front of the seller mind. They're gonna call you back before they call anybody else back if you built that rapport that was needed to make the seller like and trust you. What I told myself from that point on, I said, hey, what I'm gonna do now, I wanna do this 10, 20, 30 times a month where I have sellers that I spoke with that I have to put in a follow-up sequence. And guess what? The amount of deals that you will put under contract compared to just following up with that one particular seller is gonna increase dramatically. So basically, I just increased my efforts of generating leads in order to 20x my efforts of following up with sellers. So you just have to keep that in mind. And once you get your follow-up sequence dialed in and you have a good Podio set up to handle following up with that many leads to where you can automate the process most of the time for you, you will definitely begin to close more deals. Now, if you're saying that you can't afford a custom built Podio setup or you can't afford some of the CRM setups that they have available for $200, you can keep it very simple like how I did with that one particular lead. You can get a seller lead sheet. You can have a notebook where you write the lead down and have a follow-up date in mind. Or you can just use your cell phone and save in your reminders to follow up with a particular seller on a certain date. Guess what? You can do that multiple times without even needing a Podio. But like I said, the automation part of it, when you have 20, 30, 40, 50 leads in your Podio that you're following up with once a week or twice a week, of course, that's going to make the process easier for you. But if you're just starting out, you have to do whatever you have to do in order to get that deal closed so you can invest in the proper Podio setup in your real estate wholesaling business. Now, if you want to see how a situation like this actually works and how I generated $8,000 in 15 days, feel free to check out this video here, and I'll see you next time.